Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer Workshop. My name is Pat Baer and I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. And hanging out with all of you is important to me. I'm throwing the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe, and the Tier 2 Blue emote. If you are currently a subscriber, you can reply with those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can just say hi or use other people's emotes. Or if you want to just be a lurker, that's also okay. This is the intro portion of the stream where I say hello to people and they say hello back to me. They maybe throw the emotes in there. Maybe they resubscribe, like Mr. Bob subscribing a tier 1 for 61 months. Then I hit the applause button and say thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Bob, for your 61 months. Also, Lord Crashington saying, hey, Pat, hope things are going well and keep up the great work. Also subscribing a tier 1 for 39 months. Let's also hit that. Yeah. Thank you so much for your continued support to the both of you. 61 months is so many goddamn months. And Lord Crash did 39 months, also a lot. And then 2 days ago, we had Lashbrook with 59 months. Those are all so many goddamn months, and I appreciate your continued support, everybody. We are apparently close to a hype train, which would be nice because we got those 2 subs. If you want to gift the sub to somebody in the community, if you want to renew your subscription, if you want to, I don't know, just hang out, you got options of things you could do. Lashbrook is also here throwing in those emotes. Thank you, Lashbrook, for that. What's the agenda for tonight? Well, we have the legs done of the God Gundam, and I would love to get the waist done on this kit so that we can put it on a stand and have it stand up. So we're going to build the waist, and then we're going to move on to the chest. And then we'll move out to the arms and then the head. But we're not going to get to the arms or the head, probably. But we are going to hang out, and that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing, what this waist looks like, what this chest looks like on this God Gundam. Other things today. Well, we have things to discuss. It's Manhwa Monday. That's right. We have one manhwa to talk about. It's nice to do that on Mondays because Mondays often are, I don't have a lot to say because I don't do a lot on Sundays. We will have some things to talk about. We're going to talk about some manhwa. We're going to talk about some anime in the second hour. We got 3 anime shows to talk about here. Get into a Gundam series, a overpowered main character who didn't realize how strong he was series, and a slice of life girls doing things show that also happens to be a fantasy show. Dirty's here. Welcome, Dirty. Happy to have you here. And then also, we'll talk about, let's see, we've got my thoughts on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view that was on Saturday night while we were streaming. And let's see what else we got here. I might complain about some stuff. There's some good news out there as an update in the world of translating manga to chat about. And there's some shenanigans were afoot this weekend. Many people today that I don't know but were retweeted in my timeline kept using the word skit, and I'm tired of it. Look, in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't the thing to be upset about SNL's one of SNL's sketches on Saturday. It wasn't actually the thing to be annoyed about, really. But people are referring to as a skit. Now, as far as I know, skits are a thing that you do at the campfire, and sketches are a thing that you write down and type out and print out, and then people perform. You can perform skits, you can perform sketches. If it's on a TV show, it's a sketch. There are certain I can call what I do a skit, but you shouldn't call what I do a skit, if that makes any sense. Like Sungwon Cho, ProZD, he has compilations of some of the stuff he did on Vine, and he calls those skits. I feel like if you are performing a character or a piece on Vine or any other social media platform, those are sketches. They're short sketches, but they're sketches. But he can call them skits. I'm not telling him he can't call them skits. But I'm saying, if you're like, I'm upset about this Try Guys skit, I'm like, no, that was a sketch. They did a Try Guys sketch on SNL. And now, when my parents are returning from their trip tonight, and so tomorrow, I'm going to have to explain to them who the Try Guys are. Thanks a lot, SNL. God. Oh, I have dropped down to 39 subscribers. We had our renewed subscribers there, which is lovely. We are down to 39, so the numbers come back up. We always want to be at 40 subscribers. If you would like to renew your subscription, if you would like to gift a subscription to somebody, or you'd like to just become a subscriber for the first time, now will be a great time to do it. Not only because we almost had a hype train, but also because I have dropped below 40, and I always like to be above 40. 40 makes it very close. 40 doesn't guarantee a payout every month, but it's very close to a payout every month. But yeah, that's an option. We are going to get... Parents don't understand. You're right. They just don't understand. You're right, Lord Crash said. My parents watch SNL more than I do, and they often want to know who the host is. And I have to be like, well, there's this TV show called Secession. Or, well, they're a musical performer, and they're very big on the internet, and now they're hosting. Or... they're a sports person, Mom. I don't know who they are. Stuff like that. I'm going to retweet my own tweet, see if we can get a few more friends to join us tonight. Everybody's watching Monday Night Football. Or they're watching Raw, waiting to see if Bray Wyatt comes out. And we understand what his gimmick is. More on that later. But yeah, my parents watch SNL, and I have to give them context. Like, on the good side, one of the new cast members this season is non-binary. And I got to explain what that is, which was fun. My parents kind of understood that, because they know, at least my mom, like, knows, like, what gender nonconforming is. Like, she kind of has an understand. Like, she knows who Annie Lennox is. Like, so, like, I can start somewhere and then just be like, yeah, it's more than just like, oh, I don't dresses or wins. It's like, nah, I don't see myself as either of those things. There's like there's like a nun. And Mom was like, okay, well, what kind of sketches can they do? And I was like, first, great using they. That's fun. And second, any sketch. It's actually incredible, Mom, because depending on their comfort level, they can play anybody. They might prefer not to play a certain, but if they have no complaints on said things, then you could just cast them as whoever. So it's pretty fucking cool. And they understood that, which is good. All right, I got to put these back up because we are currently at 39 subscribers, trying to get back up to the big 40, which is fine. It's okay to be there. As long as we can do it sometime this month, we should be all right. But yeah, it was... So usually that's fine. But in this case, I guess we'll just get into it because I brought it up. Look, I don't expect you to watch anything. I didn't see the sketch live because I don't watch it live. Usually watch it on Sundays. Okay, so there was a Try Guys sketch. And I know this past week or 2 weeks, I've talked about the Try Guys way more than I ever thought I would. But I think it is interesting to talk about this in particular because there is the legitimate aspect to it. There is the conversation about belittling and demeaning while trying to understand and also spoof and make fun of things. And there's also the conspiratorial element. So let me set the stage. The Try Guys made a video that's called What Happened, period. And it's the three of them talking about a little bit about, not really, they may not understand, but Mom and Dad did save the world back in 92. Not wrong. Okay. So they made a video, and this was a spoof of that video because they're very serious about it. Now, if your knowledge of the Try Guys is just from what you've seen this week, you would be under the impression that they are YouTubers. And one of the founding members cheated on his wife, who also does stuff for them. And you'd be like, oh, that's weird. And he did it with somebody who works there. Weird. And they are YouTubers. I want to make that clear. They also have 20 employees and an office and stuff going on, because YouTuber is a bad description for people, because I'm a YouTuber. The Pauls are YouTubers. The Try Guys are YouTubers. The Green Brothers are YouTubers. The guy that does Jeff from Mother's Basement is a YouTuber. People that do 2 hour long rants about how they ruined a video game by having the 14-year-old de-sexified is a YouTuber. YouTuber just means you upload stuff to YouTube. And there's a big difference between the Try Guys and me, but I think a lot of people, when they hear YouTube, just think of like folks like me that just make content on the internet for no money, really. But there's like a different, like, they have like a business. They have a Food Network show this year. They have like stuff going on. They have been paid by the Olympic Committee to make content about the Olympics because the Olympics don't test well with young people who seem to like the Try Guys. Like, they're different than you and I, who make just like... I put up a video today about a subgenre of anime that I think is going to be really big in the future. We're two different kinds of things. But anyway, it's basically the SNL sketch was like, the initial premise, which I thought was very fun, was they're taking this very seriously. This video, in this video, and it's kind of like poking fun at that, about how serious they are, how Eugene just looks so unhappy and upset, how they're devastated by this, because if you, from the outside, these are YouTubers, and one of their members was bad, and now they're like mad about it and upset about it. So the idea is that it's breaking in on CNN, and one of the people is very sad what's happening and engaged with it and is so thankful that we can talk about it. And one of them is like, what's the big deal here? You know, that they're the one that doesn't understand why we're doing anything about this, why we're spending any time on this thing, right? It's pretty classic. It's a pretty smart way to do it, because the anchor can be the voice of reason, the Greek chorus of being like, yeah, why do I care about this? And I think that's a funny premise to go with. Why do we, who are you? I know that you are big for a lot of people, but that's not me, because I don't know who you are. So therefore it feels weird that suddenly I have, like, because I think sometimes people are like, hey, how come I had to learn who you are? That is a thing that people feel a lot when they are suddenly engaging with a thing they have never engaged with before. They often are like, hey, why though? Why do I have to know this? Why am I learning about you? I didn't want to learn about you. So I think that is a fine premise for a sketch, right? I do want to point out their outfits look basically identical. The set that was designed looks like the video. The people that work behind the scenes on SNL did an incredible job recreating that video. It looks good. Bowen Yang is doing a great Eugene Yang, which is fun. But the contents of the sketch, in order to present the concept that these guys are overreacting and their video was so dramatic and what are we even doing here? They really minimized why repercussions happened, and minimized Ned Fulmer's behavior, and that sucks. And so not only were statistically young people going to be mad that this sketch happened because they are not siding with Ned, and this video seems to be siding with Ned Fulmer, they're also like, hey, SNL, you have been told many times that you were an unsafe and terrible working environment for women. And there also have been lots of sexual assault accusations leveled at former SNL cast members who, and some of those accusations were while they were cast members. So maybe you shouldn't be writing a sketch where you take the premise that it's not a big deal that one of the owners of a company had an affair with an employee of the company. Maybe that's a weird fucking take to have. So people are mad. Now, also, this is the part where conspiracy people are getting very excited, right? Because now we can get into some conspiracy stuff, right? We haven't been able to get any conspiracy stuff in a while here. Here we go. Ned Fulmer has said on more than one occasion that he went to Yale with someone who writes at SNL. And the sketch was seemingly downplaying the severity of what happened to Ned. And in fact, the joke of the two-part joke of it was, why would anyone care about what happens with these YouTubers? And they seem to be overreacting. So, a conspiracy that you could buy into is that this was an attempt by someone that went to college with Ned to downplay this so that Ned's career isn't fully 100% ruined because of his actions. That an attempt to downplay the consequences of said actions. Now, I don't know. There are people out there that do digging. The best way to find out who wrote a sketch is to follow all of the sketch writers on Twitter, because they normally take credit. Like, some of the biggest sketches that you've ever seen, usually someone will take credit for that, right? Like, I know who wrote David S. Pumpkins. Like, it's easy to find that out, right? Because it was a big hit and people really liked it, so it's easy to find out who wrote that sketch. It's harder to find out who wrote, like, this one, because someone would have to take credit for it, and it's presumed that at least one of the people that worked on it, because you don't write sketches solo. It is presumed that at least one of the people that worked on it is Ned's friend or someone he went to college with. Now, obviously, you can go to college with a lot of people and not be friendly with them. Also, Ned seemed to be an annoying person, so maybe this person isn't a big fan of Ned Fulmer's. Maybe they didn't have anything to do with it. Maybe they pitched it and someone else wrote it. Maybe they exactly had nothing to do with it. Who knows? I don't know. But people that really love conspiracies really enjoy talking about this element, because it certainly does appear like, because the sketch is so weirdly in favor of Ned's behavior in a way that seems strange, it is certainly believed by some people that this was at least pitched initially as an attempt to have him save face. Because, like, even if you don't think, because there are people that aren't necessarily defending Ned, right? But there are people that are in real life. They don't think it's a problem for one of the four owners of a company to be in a consensual, as put by Ned, relationship with one of their employees. And they don't see the power dynamic there being a problem. Which is fucked up that people can't see that as being a problem. But that is a thing that's happening, right? So yeah, it is wild to see it be diminished in that way. Also, it should be pointed out, because that is important to note, that that video that people do think that some people find the humor in it being very serious is three dudes, two of whom are straight and white, on YouTube, showing that negative actions have consequences because they didn't wait it out. They didn't say, Ned's an adult and he can make his own decisions, we're working through this. If there is they didn't give Ned a lot of time off, and they're just going to bring him back and act like it didn't happen. They did the right thing. They were like, you betrayed everybody's trust. You have fucked up 2 relationships here. Clearly, you got into a very improper relationship with someone that works here. You exposed other people to tabloids and all kinds of other shit. Like, we can't have this. You're done. Oh, actually, I forgot a piece here. I'm talking so hard, I forgot to put this piece on. So I gotta take this apart and put it back together. Y'all, fun. Actually, luckily, seems to be not too hard to do. Great. It sucks that people like literally made a video where they are like doing the right thing and it's just frustrating. That they had like they're literally holding Ned accountable, and they are doing a thing that will like have an influence on people. That there are many people out there that all of their entertainment is TikTok and YouTube, and maybe those people will be like positively influenced by these dudes saying, "Hey, you know what? This shit is not going to fly. We're not going to stand for this. Like you can't apologize your way out of this. So we're not going to pretend that you can just to move on, because that would break your trust in us." And then they ended up referenced on SNL as like overreacting weirdos, and I think it sucks. And yeah. It was an incredible miscalculation on the part of SNL. Just a complete and total misreading of the situation. It'd be like, this is the target. It's the dudes that made a video that it's the dudes who spent the last 8 years working with this guy to build a media empire, and then he threatened their livelihoods and their trust. And ruin their trust. I tweeted this. This is a joke, that tweet, which I think is pretty fun. I also have friends who write on SNL, but I don't expect any of them to pitch a sketch that downplays whatever I did to completely fuck up my life. That is the short version of it. But yeah, I'll take the L. Is what I'm saying. Like if I ever fuck up so bad that I like ruin myself and like hurt a bunch of people. Yeah, I don't need a redemption sketch. Basically, I talked about this too much. My apologies, but like, it has a lot of intersections with my life of things that I'm interested in, and also, just like shitty responses from people. And obviously, entertainment first is like certainly the thing, right? Like they're entertainers, they are finding the fun in some stuff, but it is weird to have them just be like, yeah, you know what? The really funny target for this is the guys that are very clearly upset. Like, because even if you're like, it's not that big a deal. Like, even if you think, hey, so he cheated on his wife with an employee, whatever. Like, even if you think that, which is fucking weird to think that, but even if you do, he fucked with their money. And I think that's the thing that some people, like, that took a while for some people to be like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, he's fucking with their money, and he's fucking with his friend's money. And I think maybe that is how some people could be like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, I can see that. Like, his choices fucked with their money, and, like, maybe that's enough to understand. Anyway. Speaking of people fucking up, let's talk about TwitchCon, right? Let's get into TwitchCon. Now, I guess if you ask some people, I should be focusing on the positives of TwitchCon, because people had some good times at TwitchCon. There were some good panels. Megan Thee Stallion performed with a cosplayer dressed as Master Chief there, grinding up on Master Chief. You know, like, people met streamers that they really like after waiting in line for a really long time. And sometimes they got cut out of line, and that's awful. And people got to roll with some of their crews or meet some of their subscribers for the first time. And it was like a cool, fun event. And I was supposed to make sure that I focus on that, apparently, instead of where the organizer of TwitchCon did not immediately shut down a booth when someone broke their back in 2 places. Or when someone else broke their leg. Apparently, I shouldn't focus on that, and I should focus on the positive, which is like, well, I'm glad it was fun for some people. This place where nobody was enforcing mask wearing, and they only changed their policy on entrance to appease people, and then didn't enforce it at all. It's like, sure. And also, hey, why is Twitch still running at conventions? They're not an events company. Why do they run that? Why don't they just like, look, I'm not even saying they got to hire Reed or anything. I mean, it would be a good idea for them to hire Reed. But what? There are other companies that'll do that shit. Why? Why do they do it? They're not good at it. It's just increasing their liability from a practical standpoint. Don't make sense to me why they would do it. Just doesn't. Got to spend debt. I mean, here's the thing, right? They don't have Bezo bucks. When other companies let people do unsafe events, I mean, well, that's the thing, right? You would assume that one, yes, other companies will let you do unsafe events because they're letting conventions happen. So, yes. So the answer to that, unfortunately, also high risk is yes. They will definitely let you do unsafe events. Now, will there be more scrutiny of booths? And perhaps you would not have what we had here with the Lenovo booth? Yes. You would not have the joint booth of Intel and Lenovo. If you are unaware, they had a foam pit, which is like a ball pit, but worse. In practice. In theory, it's not worse. It might even be better. The idea is you got all these foam things, and they had like an American Gladiator style, like platform, and you fall off the platform. Now, you signed a waiver to do such thing, and then they're like, don't kick people, don't punch people. Sure. Apparently, that waiver and the instructions given said nothing about falling off the platform into the foam pit, because that's how you finish. No, so Lord Crashington, the ball pit was DashCon. That was the unofficial, don't call it TumblrCon because you're not associated with us. The idea of getting all of the fandoms from Tumblr together. That was DashCon. DashCon, one of their make goods for a bunch of people canceling because they weren't actually being taken care of or actually not booked at all, was to say increase time in the ball pit. That kind of became viral and won that ball pit. Now, indeed, that ball pit was thin. It did have some inflation. It was on concrete. But also, you weren't jumping or falling into the ball pit. You were just crawling into the ball pit or laying in the ball pit. Whereas this was, you were on a platform and then you fell. And when you fell through onto the concrete because there was no matting or padding, or it wasn't. You'd think tall would be a bad idea, but in this case, no. That means there'd be more foam involved. In this case, there wasn't, and so you would just fall through the foam. Now, if you're taking a flat back bump like a wrestler, you'd probably be okay. But if you're going to land on your side, or you're going to land up curled up, or just fall, or go face first and belly flop, it's going to fucking hurt because you're going through the foam into just straight onto the concrete. And someone, a streamer who I was not aware of, and I was not aware of her for some reason, it's very important for some people to point out that she used to do adult film stuff. It's apparently incredibly important to make sure that people know, oh, she was a porn star, right? And it's like, well, great. It doesn't matter. Can you save your agenda for like a day? I don't give a shit. Also, if she wasn't a streamer, it also would still matter. Yes. Yeah, she's still a person. And it wasn't a thing where, like, I don't know if it's blaming. I do think it's just, like, salacious in a way that people, like, are like, sure, okay. Talking about that is why some of your friends don't tell you about what they do in their lives. If you're an asshole, there are some people in your life that won't tell you things. Like, that might be fucking cool as hell, but they don't include you on things because you're an asshole about other things. Like that. Like, if you are really shitty about, like, what someone has done in their life to earn money, then people in your life withheld information from you because they know that you are not trustworthy. The lady who sprained their ankle, says Mr. Bob, looked like it was just a simple jump off the platform. The amount of foam was enough to twist the ankle and not take any impact. Yeah, because you're just hitting concrete. And you're also psychologically not preparing yourself to hit concrete. Because you, in your head, you're like, well, this is a booth at a convention. Now, this is not me victim blaming. This is me giving you practical life advice right here. I am not victim blaming any of the people that got injured or any of the people that chose to do this. I'm simply putting forth the information out there for your own benefit, my viewers. If a thing at a convention requires the signing of a waiver, don't do the thing. I'm not saying do the thing without signing a waiver. I'm saying don't do the thing. Sometimes those waivers are just like, hey, blah, 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 and, well, we got to cover our bases, and our insurance says we have to do it. But other times it's like, hey, this is carny shit. We just need you to, like, the people that organize conventions, they have insurance, they are well-meaning, they are trying to do shows, they have event planning experience. All of that, like, is true and reasonable. The people who are manning booths at conventions are people like me. I am one of the people that runs booths at conventions and helps organize booths at conventions. And I do know what I'm talking about and do know what I'm doing, but also, I'm just a guy. Like, the people that are just running booths, that's just carny shit. Because maybe there are people who work for Intel and Lenovo that are actually paid employees of Intel and Lenovo working there, right? But they're not the people getting the foam together, pulling the foam when it bounces out, having people sign waivers. Those are all just people that got hired to run that booth. They don't care about Intel. They don't care about Lenovo. They don't have to care about that shit. They have a job at a convention, and they're padding their resume because now they get to say, oh, well, I've done events for Intel, which sounds great. Now, when you drill down, that means I had people sign waivers before they fought strangers in a foam pit. That is not as interesting, but they don't say that part. They just say, oh, yes, well, I've done... have you ever heard of Twitch? Well, they have a convention, and I worked at that convention. The same way that I say, I've worked New York Comic Con, which is true. And I even say I've done interviews for a major comic book publisher at New York Comic Con, which is also true. Those are true statements. I don't say, I used to help out my friends at New York Comic Con that had, like, tiny little booths. I used to just say I worked New York Comic Con because that's more impressive. And now I say, well, I interviewed people like, I've interviewed major comic book writers and artists at New York Comic Con, which is true. And San Diego Comic Con, which is true. I was not paid to do either of those things, but I didn't say that part. Who cares? That is part of the thing. Like, so don't do those events, please. Please don't do those things. There's a lot of discussions about, like, what a waiver means, and a waiver is not a get out of jail free card, my friends. A waiver is more like, oh, well, you knew the risks of this, and I'm sorry that your clothes got weird, or your costume fell apart because you did this. If you have to go to the hospital, people are going to make that shit go away. But yeah, I mean, that's my big point is just like, One, don't watch the videos if you don't watch the videos, because you know what happens at the end of the video. There's several shots in there. Um, uh, and people were like, "Oh, well, you would have got hurt a different way." And it's like, what are you talking about? And also, what do you mean? Now, I think the funniest response to this is people who are like, the real problem with TwitchCon was I waited in line for 8 hours and didn't get to meet blank. And I'm like, no, that's not a problem. That's going to a convention. You shouldn't have been. They should have capped the line for this thing. Be like, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You ever been to fucking VidCon? Like, they do that there too. They do that everywhere. Like, sorry. It's never going to be quite right for you. You know, you're never going to quite win with that stuff. But, like, that's actually not the fucking problem, my dude. You know, the problem is never that. The problem is other things. All right, we've got our front skirt on here. We got to do our side skirt and our back skirt parts. Or maybe this is the back. This is the back skirt. Because this is where... Ooh, the connector goes there. My stand that I wanted to use for this kit is not going to work. I'm going to have to get a different stand with an angle, which is fine. We won't be able to put this... We won't have the standing where the plug is on the butt here. Because it's not on the bottom. It's on the back. I'll have a different stand to be able to get this going on. But anyway, people were like, this is the real issue. And it was like, no. I mean, it sucks you didn't get to see the person you wanted to see, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is that two people got very hurt. There's also talk of a third person. That is unconfirmed, and so I will not conjecture on that. But there was talk of a third person injured. But that third person might have been injured at a different event that was also unsafe, but was actually run by Twitch themselves. But that lost a little bit of focus because I think more people were concerned with the broken back person. Let's see, what else? In good news, United Workers of Seven Seas. You may remember me talking about that before. They are Seven Seas, your light novels and your manga translations. The departments there, that company has blown up. This is sounding like some Ferris Bueller-esque gossip at the end. Yes, a little bit of gossip there. United Workers Seven Seas, they tried to unionize. They took steps to unionize. And in June, Seven Seas was like, we recognize your attempt to unionize. We're going to do that. You don't have to do a whole thing. We are going to voluntarily recognize that, which is a step that you don't always see and is cool. So that was in June. They have been pretty silent about that because once you're done getting public support and making the company understand that, hey, this is going to be a fucking fight. If you want it to be a fight, it'll be a fucking fight. But you also could just not make it a fucking long dragged out fight and just go for it. Once that happens, once they're like, yeah, or we love unions. We've always loved unions. Everybody keeps saying that about us at Seven Seas. Then everything gets quiet because then you have to negotiate and work on stuff, and you only really say shit if the other party stops communicating, and then you're like, hey, we've got to rally the troops to put pressure on them because they went silent on this shit, and now we got to hold them to the fire. If they aren't staying silent on shit, then you just do the work. They had an announcement here from the United Workers of Seven Seas today. We are pleased to announce the contract bargaining will start in a few days. So they have now hit the point where they are going to get into some collective bargaining as a union, as United Workers of Seven Seas. We have reduced the frequency of our posts to focus on bargaining, but please keep an eye out for updates. We thank everyone for their continued support of the UW7S and Seven Seas. And this is also to say, I forgot about their fairly clever hashtag. They have a kind of clever hashtag, which I appreciate, which is, of course, Isekai is possible. Which is a hashtag Isekai is possible. The idea of a different world. I I think that is very funny and very telling that there are some people on there that understand what they're doing and what's up. I think that's very good. So congratulations to them as they move forward with union contracts at their goddamn place, their goddamn place of employment. That's awesome. I think that's fucking rad. And hopefully hopefully their collective bargaining goes well for them. Let's see. Jumping back, I did that part. Okay. Let's talk about some wrestling. We got some wrestling news. Hey, the White Rabbit, this like viral ARG like thing where there was cool weird shit happening on WWE programming that they wouldn't acknowledge was happening, which makes it even fucking cooler when you don't have Michael Cole going, "Hey, did you see that? Oh, that's weird. We still don't know what that thing was from 2 hours ago, and we're gonna keep talking about it, even though we can't tell you anything and nothing will change." Like they didn't do that. Instead, they were just like letting a weird thing happen and letting people like investigate on their own about the weird thing that was happening, which is fucking cool as hell. Turns out that was Bray Wyatt, which yeah. Now, supposedly Bray Wyatt will make an appearance tonight while I am streaming. Again, at the end of the night after the fight pit, not to be confused with the foam pit, the fight pit where Matt Riddle defeated Seth Rollins, which makes sense, but is also I don't care. Sure, great. Dude won. Cool. All right, we got to see how this connects. This is going to hold a beam saber here, and I don't know how this connects in. Got to press it to fit, and you do one side and then the other side. Oh, this is like friction fitting. I don't like that. There we go. All right. Cool. I got one side done here, which is this one. That goes in here. The side skirts are connected to the back of it, which should theoretically make it so they don't pop off that easily, which is nice. That's a nice addition that I can appreciate. All right, now let's do the other side. It was just like this one. The same. Anyway, everyone was holding their phones up as the lights dimmed after the match. And then we had He's Got the Whole World in His Hands played. And then spotlights were showing a bunch of different people dressed as live versions of the Firefly Funhouse cast. And they showed a video of the set that had been decrepit because he hasn't been around, which all looked cool. And then there was a new mask that came through a door that had appeared on stage. And there's a lantern. And then it was Bray Wyatt. And people lost their goddamn minds because it's Bray Wyatt. Now, what will this be? Is this a Fiend again? Because it's a different mask. Is this a cult leader Bray Wyatt? Is this Funhouse Bray Wyatt that has a split personality thing going? Is it a new incarnation? What does the White Rabbit mean? What's going on? We don't know. People were like, is there a faction? Rumors are that Bo Dallas, who is in real life Bray Wyatt's brother, they're both the sons of IRS, Mike Rotunda. Maybe they one of that, maybe Bo is going to come back. Maybe Liv Morgan and Seth Rollins both blacked out their images on social media and changed it all around. Have they been pulled in? Would that would be really weird for Seth Rollins, but maybe good for Liv Morgan since she just fucking lost the belt and was laughing about it and acting weird. I don't know. But I can say with full understanding, it was cool. AJ Styles I know that AJ Styles is a flat earther. I don't know if anybody else is a flat earther. I do know. Look, AJ Styles is willing to question if the world is round or not. He's not technically a flat earther so much as he is skeptical about proven stuff and dumb as dirt. I don't know if he also is a flat earther. Who knows? He is just asking questions that he doesn't need to ask. So it's a little different. Anyway, I don't know what's going on there. We'll find out more. I guess tonight, at least. Could Bray Wyatt hold the world in his hands if it wasn't round? I mean, if it was, depends on how long it is, because it's just flat. That's you can just like this. You can just brace it like this. But if it's really long, I don't know if he can hold the whole world in his hands that way. Be interesting. I'll ask him. Also, while everyone was paying attention to Bray Wyatt on Twitter, he did link to the GoFundMe for the family of Sarah Lee, who did pass away, former NXT winner Sarah Lee. And I think that fucking rules. I think using your platform, breaking character, a thing he does not do, in order to, what, even though it's supposedly secret, is a big day for him to be like, well, a lot of eyes are on my Twitter. Better send out this GoFundMe to help support this family. And I think that's beautiful. I thought that was great. I hope that it helped a lot. But yeah, I thought that was real good. That was class act from Bray. In other news from the night, the Brawling Brutes defeated Imperium in the good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, which is just all 6 guys fought the whole time, and there were no rules. It was an Extreme Rule match with a bunch of people in it. It was good. Sheamus was still already banged up from the previous night's Raw, which was kind of fun to see him just took a huge beating. There were some really good spots in it. It was messy in ways that were great. It does not hurt Imperium at all because Gunther is still the Intercontinental Champion, and that doesn't change that. It probably should end the feud between them, but I don't know what happens to either group. But yeah, probably should end the feud. Let's see. In what, in my opinion, should have happened later in the card, Ronda Rousey defeated Liv Morgan to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion in an Extreme Rules match. It was the only actual Extreme Rules match on Extreme Rules. Now, I understand doing the fight pit last because it's a physical thing and they have to dismantle the ring and build this whole thing, but do it first. Start with the fight pit. Don't end with the fight pit. In my opinion, a title match that involves Ronda Rousey, who sucks, but is still a big name, is a bigger deal than the third match between Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle when Seth Rollins had beat Matt Riddle twice. Just because it has guest referee Daniel Cormier, I don't feel like that is a big deal. Or as big a deal as they would imply that it was. That's my opinion on it. Or the I Quit match could have gone last too. But I guess maybe that's too much spooky shit or gothy shit back to back. So you don't want to do that. I don't know. Hey, if you want to see really weak ass bat swings, if you want to understand why people do the I have a baseball bat and I'm hitting you like this. Yeah, October is not a good month for spooky stuff. Yeah. Well, it would be back-to-back spooky stuff. That's what I'm saying. If you want to know why people get hit like this, where they're holding their hand on the baseball bat and do that, watch someone poorly and lightly swing a baseball bat at another person, because that happened a lot in this match, and every single baseball swing sucked shit and looked terrible. It was bad. All of the baseball swings are terrible, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get cut out of video packages about that match for the future. I would not be surprised if they just pretend like those swings didn't happen, because it was bad. Should they have had knife versus bat? No, because you can't make either look good. That's the problem. Sounds like my parents are home. Nice. They were coming back today from traveling, and they got held up in the airport. Their flight got delayed, but it looks like they made it in, which is nice. I'll talk to them in an hour or so. Karrion Kross, with help from Pepper Spray or Mace, depending on who you talk to, from Scarlett, beat Drew McIntyre in a strap match. I love that Karrion Kross was like, I don't want to put the strap on. And they had to fight a lot to get him to put the strap on. I think that is a funny choice for him to be like, no, I don't want to. I think that is very funny. It makes sense for him to win. It was good that he won because it was his first match back and his first feud back, and he kind of had to win. So I'm glad he did, even if I don't really care. And also, Karrion Kross should shave his head because he is creepier with a shaved head than he is with hair. Because a bald man wearing a leather jacket is cooler than a man with a good head of hair wearing a leather jacket. And I'll stand by that statement. Bianca Belair retained her Raw Women's Championship against Bayley in a ladder match. Now, should Bayley have won this? I could see a reason to believe that because it does. There was interference by the stable that she is a lead of, Damage Control, and Bianca kind of took them out. It makes Bianca look incredibly strong. There was some really hard hitting parts of this match, some real brutality in there, which was cool. But maybe it didn't need. Maybe Bayley didn't need to win. It does make Bianca look unbeatable, which is great because Bianca rules. But yeah, it might have hurt Damage Control. But I could see Bayley picking up another opportunity and winning that belt off of her. Maybe in a standard match with just some cheating. But it was a good match. That was one of my favorite matches of the night. I thought some of the spots were really, really good. And Bianca is just so strong and likable and great. Edge said, I quit against Finn Balor because they were going to give a concerto where you hit two chairs against someone's head from the other side. Or in this case, a chair laying down someone's head and then a chair hits the other chair. To Beth Phoenix, his wife. And he was like, I will say I quit. And then they did it anyway. Because of course they did. Because they're baddies. They're no good baddies. And of course they took liberties and hurt Beth Phoenix. Are we going to get Beth Phoenix and Edge versus someone in Judgment Day, including Rhea? Possibly. I don't know if Rhea is cleared to wrestle right now because she suffered an injury, severe injury, to her face and head. Also, I kind of want this to be done. I feel like they quit. So what counts was because they're being at that moment. Yes, I mean, Lord Crashenden, I mean, you understand that, like, yes. In Edge's thing, he quit because he wouldn't quit otherwise, so that gave them the win. And it's like, well, I'll say I quit so that you stop this. But yes, then they're like, well, I already won. But yes, they did take it too far. Beth was just evening the odds because they had been cheating like cheaters. One would assume I would like this to be done because AJ Styles has been kind of feuding with Finn Balor. And supposedly, the Good Brothers are coming back, which is terrible. They don't need to. But it sounds like they're coming back. And if they come back, then you could assume that they would be hanging out with AJ against Judgment Day. Because Judgment Day has 3 members that are male and 1 member that is female. Now, I guess, actually, I don't know if Damian is in Judgment Day fully. Because I don't watch a lot of Raw. But he is at least hanging out with them. Keeps them out of product that I want to watch. Yes, Lashbrook. Oh, the Good Brothers should not be in AEW. And I think it's very clear they should not be there. Speaking of AEW, this was taped when they were in DC, but aired today on Dark Elevation. Brian Cutler, who had been suspended when everybody involved in the post-Gripe Bomb fight had gotten suspended. Brandon Cutler made his triumphant return to Dark Elevation in a winning effort against Serpentico in a fucking very funny match. If you are someone that watches AEW, but you only watch Dynamite, Rampage, and the pay-per-views, and you don't watch Dark or Dark Elevation, I understand, but seek it out. It's the last match of 7 matches on today's Dark Elevation, and is worth checking out because Brandon Cutler and Serpentico have The first couple minutes of that match are them both failing to do anything to each other because they keep countering and failing to pull off moves. And that does sound bad, but it's very funny. It is a very well done comedy match. It does involve, I should say this, is not the finish, so, spoilers, but, big spoilers. It does involve Brandon Cutler doing a splash off the bottom rope. That's right, not off the second rope splash, not the top rope splash, the bottom rope splash, where you're very not much off the ground. And that was very funny to see. That was a good bit of business. In a pretty okay elevation, that was the highlight, in my opinion. Just seeing. Except, Wet Brett was there. A guy in the indie scene named Wet Brett. He's wet all the time. He fought in a 6-man. So you get to see Dalton Castle and the boys fight 3, enhancement talent, one of which was Wet Brett, which is just a good, weird nickname. He's kind of wet. Dalton Castle thought it was gross, which I thought was very funny. They played up the dude's gimmick, which I thought was nice because you don't actually get to see people play up their gimmicks too much in those kind of enhancement matches. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I rarely, if ever, recommend Dark and Dark Elevation. I only recommend them if you're like, man, I haven't seen this wrestler in a while. I'd be like, well, they're on the YouTube shows, so you can watch the YouTube to see them. But again, I don't often recommend that because it's not the best way to see them. Then Matt Riddle defeated Seth Rollins in a fine fight pit match. A match that I thought was totally okay. I think there's too much of them on the top of it, the planks above the fight pit. I thought there was too much of that in a way that I did not enjoy. Anyway, now's the part of the stream where I'm going to take a pause for the cause. This is an attempt for me to tell you about ways you can support the channel. If you're new to the stream, this will just be a couple minutes of me chatting with y'all about ways you can support what I do here. If you are already around, you've been here around for a while, you know the drill. This will be fine and quick. John already did it. Hi, I'm John. If you want to throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, and if you're a tier 2 subscriber, the site, the moat in the chat. Jam just resubscribed with Prime. That's 57 months. We're going to hit the applause right there. Thank you so much, Jam, for resubscribing with Twitch Prime. That also takes us back up to 40, so these can go away. Thank you so much, Jam, for doing that and letting us hit 40, the big 4-0. Site the Moat is for everyone. Yes, you're right, and John, I said that mistakenly. The Site the Moat is for everyone. That used to be the Tier 2 emote. Now the Tier 2 emote is blue. That changed. Me is Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, which changed back in June for my birthday. So you're right. But for a very long time, the Scythe was a Tier 2. I misspoke, but thank you for correcting me, John. But yeah, I'm at 40 subscribers now. The easiest way to make sure I stay at 40 subscribers is for you to be a subscriber. If you haven't already subscribed, or if you want to gift a sub to somebody in the community, Aristofan gave a gift sub and is currently the leader and only person on the gift sub leaderboard. You could join Aristofan by jumping in the second or third slot there. You also could do bits and coins. Bits and coins always appreciated. If that's something you'd like to do, you're under no obligation certainly to do that. But if you wanted to do that, you could. There are other ways to support what I do here, and we're going to look at that real quick right now. I got a Patreon. You can join my Patreon. There's a $1, $3, $5, and $10 tier. The day you sign up is the day you will be billed, and then you'll be billed every month on that date, and it won't change. Except like in February, I guess, where there's a couple days that don't exist, right? That's it. Other than that, you just get billed at the end of the month. So join my Patreon, patreon.com/PatBear. Check out the tiers, see if there's something right for you. I have a YouTube channel. You can go to my YouTube channel and support me there, youtube.com/PatBear. I make videos and put up videos every Wednesday and every other Monday, plus a bunch of other stuff that goes up kind of semi-randomly. Consider checking out there. And subscribing is free, but joining, that costs you $2. And if you joined, here's what could happen. You get my Wednesday videos on Tuesday. So tomorrow, you would get a brand new Do You Remembaer instead of having to wait till Wednesday, like other people would have to wait It's a little thing I can do. I enjoy doing that. So consider jumping in there over on the YouTube. Other ways to support what I do here. Direct donations. All those things I just mentioned there are monthly, but there's direct donations which you could do, and through PayPal or Stream Elements or Coffee, and everything I make through direct donations. YouTube, which includes AdSense, so watching my videos and watching ads helps me as well. Through Patreon and through Twitch, all goes into a fund, and I take money at that fund to buy model kits. That's right. I buy model kits. I build model kits. That's how it works. That's how it works. If you... Now, I could not have bought the God Gundam without your generous support. But if you ever wanted to see me build a particular model kit, the best way to get me to build that model kit is not to wait to see if I buy it. It's to buy it yourself on my Amazon wish list. And then not only will it jump the queue and become the next thing I build, it will also get its own dedicated video that goes on my YouTube about the item and me talking about it and thanking you if you want your name included. In the mail right now is a very small model kit that someone bought from a series I've never built before. I believe I'm receiving that tomorrow because today was a bullshit holiday. So we've got Lego sets. We've got model kits, some Pokemon kits in there, a bunch of different stuff. Some 3-in-1 Lego sets, some not 3-in-1 Lego sets, inexpensive kits, very expensive kits, some model kits that have free shipping, some model kits that don't, some stuff that is like dropped in price a little bit and seems reasonable, some stuff that has never seemed to drop in price and it seems unreasonable, and then some accessories and gear at the bottom, because it's always nice to have gear, and at least one of those pieces of gear is unnecessary. That on-air sign I would just put on my wall, and I don't need to do that, but I would put it on my wall, and then I would I don't know, I would turn it on when the stream started. I don't know what I would do with... I know what I would do. I don't know if there's anything else that I would do with an on-air sign except use it. I think that would be kind of neat. All right, is there... yeah, so take a look at that, see if there's something there you'd like to see me build. And yes, Jerry mentions that, as I talked about today being a bullshit holiday, there is First Nations Day on the 12th. And we should certainly honor the people that were here and the people that are still here, who are always a unfortunately bloody part of any nation's history. Which, you know, yeah, sorry. But that is the truth there. So in lighter conversation, I also, you can go to Throne. I have a Throne wish list. I keep saying that I'm going to update it, and I haven't in a while, but I will. But I have a Throne wish list, which no one's ever bought anything from, but it's nice to have an alternative to Amazon. And then also, USA Gundam Store. You go to USA Gundam Store, and you could buy a gift card, and then send me a DM on Twitter, because my DMs are open, with that gift card code, and then I would use that gift card code to buy something from USA Gundam Store. Other things... if you want to support me for free, you could join my Discord. My Discord is lovely, and we would love to have you there. Jump out in the old Discord. I post build photos, people and stuff they're working on. Today, I uploaded a new Pat Bear's Anime Club, and I think it's good. I think this one was a suggestion from a couple days ago. A friend was just like, you should talk about this on Pat Bear's Anime Club. And I was like, I should. And I'm happy to do it. The content of the video, the concept of the video is me trying to answer the question that I've posed: is kicked banished the next big thing in anime? The idea of we'll talk about one in the second hour, the kicked from the hero's party or kicked from the great adventure party or the army or whatever, the underdog who is either so talented but they don't believe in themselves, or hiding it, or they are very talented and know their worth, but the people in their party have gotten too used to them being overpowered, and they're kicked out, and then they go and do cool shit. And I list a bunch of manga, because there's only been a couple examples that have made it to anime, but it's a very popular subgenre in manga. And I give some examples of things that could easily get a new version or an animated version and still sell because they are ongoing manga because that's usually important. So I don't know. I have no idea if we'll ever see those, but I try to give reasons why it's certainly possible that we'll see more of those in the future, and why that could be the case. And then on Do You Remembaer, I talk about Flying Spaghetti Monster, the nonsense things, Flying Spaghetti Monster. I read the Wikipedia page for it, which has a lot to say in there, and do my best to talk about that for memory. So Do You Remembaer? I got a new one of those coming out on a Wednesday, as mentioned. I forgot to update my Manhwa thing, so I'll have to do that manually. It won't be a command, which is fine. And then we'll get into some anime discussion. Before we get into me continuing to work on the waist here, and me talking about a manhwa and then talking about some anime, I drink water because I can just feel it that I'm like pushing my voice right now. So I'm going to drink some water, and then we'll dramatically transition back to the overhead and get back to building right now. Because we hit 40 subscribers, I can turn this off. These off right here. So we'll do that. It's cool. Check my messages here. I'm going to tweet my own tweet. See if we can get a few more friends to join us. Because it's always nice to have friends hanging out. And this has been not poorly attended, but lightly attended. All right, let's keep working on this. We got to do the other part of this. I would love to get the waist done here. I think we will because we only have a few more steps. We do have some steps left. And let's talk about The Strongest Unemployed Hero, which is a manhwa. So that is a South Korean comic. There have been 22 chapters so far, which, because of the way that South Korea does their comics, is weekly. Sometimes some are bi-weekly, but most are weekly. It does mean that saying 22, it's just starting to get like a twist is revealed that changes things a bit, but they haven't like explained the twist. But anyway, I got to jump back here. This is the thing that I think is going to be big in manhwa and comics going forward. Right now, comics in general, is the what happens after you get back from being isekai'd. Because he's an unemployed hero. Because he was a dude that was like going to school and doing his whole thing. He was an orphan. And then he got summoned to a different world. And after 200 years, they managed to defeat the demon army and the demon lord. And he did it. He fucking did it. Became a fighter and a user of magic. And time is different there than here. So he didn't age that much. Time moves faster there, so even though it was 200 years, it wasn't like that much in Earth. It was like, I think like 5 years, yeah. And then like it led to victory on this place, and then our guy Shin is just like, okay, cool. Well, now I'm going back, and they're like, it's like the new ruler of the kingdom is like, are you sure? And some of the other heroes that helped out are like, I mean, you don't even have magic over there. Don't you want to like hang out here and like help us out and like, you know, you kept things hidden, but like, he's like, no, I want to go back. He's like, yeah, but you don't have any family there or anything. Like, why? He's like, no, I want to go back. I did all this and now I'm going to go home. So he goes back and, hey, turns out, doesn't have as much powers as he did when he was over there because there's not a lot of mana. But he does have quite a bit of power. And one thing he does have is a lot of gold. He's got a key that opens this magic door to a room full of gold. So he tracks down, and this is all handled pretty quickly. He once he's there, he tracks down somebody that used to work at the orphanage that he was at. That he knows is a trustworthy person that can handle his money. And it's just like, hey, I'm going to explain to you all this stuff. You're not going to believe me. It's fine. Just know I got all this money and I need someone to manage it. So I want you to do that. Handle my business. Basically, there are a lot of rumors that he like I love this detail, right? So this guy disappears. He comes back. He has a lot of money, right? He opens a coffee shop so that he has a place to go and hang out during the day because he's unemployed. He also owns like an office building to manage stuff and all that. And his apartment, he owns an apartment building that he's a tenant of. But he has a coffee shop just to hang out in because he found some people that he likes their coffee, so he wants them to work there so he can drink their coffee. But which I think is a fun deal. But the rumor that he has spread for how he became rich is he went to America and became rich designing apps. That he like made some apps and like somebody big bought his company and now he's a millionaire, which is I think a very fun like. You just assume that people have done because some people have sold apps and made a lot of money. Like it's a good cover story, especially if you're like don't want to actually do any investigation on it. So anyway, he's got powers which he doesn't really use. Most of the time, he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything," and whatever. And he doesn't really train, and he can't use a lot of mana, but he can still fight really well. But then like. One of his employees took out a loan, and the loan sharks are after him, and so he scares them off, but then they come back with more people and wreck his shop, and he gets involved. And then it just, here's the thing, right? It escalates. The way that you would expect it to escalate, right? Because the low-level people have people they answer to, and they're bad, and so they want to handle it. And no one expects this, like, unemployed dude in a tracksuit to whoop all their asses. And you're like, okay, that's fun. I like this overpowered dude who's like going to get into more trouble and he's going to have to fight like gangs and criminal organizations and whatever. And I know this is going to sound odd. Then it gets weird. Because there's occasionally where he fights someone who's actually strong. And not like, oh, they're an MMA fighter strong. Like, seem to have superpowers strong. And a few people refer to him as a hunter. And they're like, oh, we didn't know you were a hunter. We didn't know you were, we're waiting for, like, oh, we're fighting. We're waiting for it to wear off. And he's like, I'm not taking drugs. And then later he finds out that there are people called hunters who are, in either cybernetically enhanced or the government did experiments on them to make super soldiers. And they assume that he's one of them. And he's like, no, I'm not that either. But he eventually realizes, hey, there's this like drug that kind of acts like you're high on mana and it's kind of a strength boost. And he's like, I got to find out what's going on with that. But yeah, he does eventually run into somebody that is with cybernetics stronger than him. And he's like, okay, well, I need to figure that out. Now, by the time that he is fighting against like the Japanese and the Russians and like working counterintelligence and doing all this stuff. By the time we get that far, it is like, oh, this is not just a story about like what happens when the local coffee shop owner is really strong. And I did wonder if it was going to be on a local, smaller level. It's not. And then also when you're like, oh, he's going to need to power up. That's where we get to chapter 22, where we have the arrival of people from the other world that he was in have come over to visit him. Now, they haven't explained why. There is a reason why they're there. And they have not said why yet. But they also bring him a gift. And we don't know what that gift is yet. But it is very much assumed that that gift is a way for him to use mana and unlock some of his potential. So that he can be stronger and fight a dude. So that is the strongest unemployed hero. Which is, I think, totally worth checking out. I think if you like the idea of a main character, like overpowered main character, you like just so many chapters of just idiots. Hey, Delta Head is raiding with a party of 8. Welcome, raiders. Hello, everyone. If I remember correctly, you were Parappa the Rappering. You got some Parappa the Rapper, and you were doing that, which is cool. 2, maybe you were playing the sequel. I can't remember, but I hope you're all doing well. My name is Pat Baer. If you're new to the stream, I build model kits and Lego sets and hang out and talk about a bunch of stuff. I was correct. Great. We just finished talking about a Manhwa, a South Korean comic that I have been reading that I recommend called The Strongest Unemployed Hero. and it is in the small subgenre of back in your original world after being a hero in another world. It's the manga, or in this case the manhwa, South Korean comic, is not about all the cool shit you did over there. It's actually focusing on what happens when you come back to our world and you are very strong and powerful. And it's pretty good. I would say worth checking out, worth investigating if you can find this webtoon in your language. Now, it's important that we talk about some anime. That's right. That is the thing we do over here a lot, is we're going to talk about some anime. If you have not seen any episodes of what I'm about to talk about here, I will give a brief summary. All of these shows are in their second episode. This is all episode 2 of Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witcher Mercury, Beast Tamer, and Management of a Novice Alchemist are all in their second episode. So it's still early on in the season. We're still getting our legs wet with all of these. I have read the manga of one of these, so I'm kind of ahead of what's going on in the story. The other is an original, and I don't know what's going on there pretty much at all. And the third, there is a manga, and I have not read it, so I do not know. These are very different shows from one another. Witcher Mercury, Mobile Suit Gundam Witcher Mercury. We're getting more into the drama and like what's going on with this, and like dealing with family drama. So big themes in Gundam are, hey, Gundams are a last resort and a terrible choice, but mobile suits in general aren't good. War is bad and terrible, and there are no like good guys and bad guys when it comes to war, because it's all bad. Generally, and terrible. And hey, it's pretty fucked up that children have to get involved in this shit, huh? Those are big themes. Now we're adding a new theme in this particular one, which is, well, we're twisting governments fucking up for the people, and we're getting into corporations as governments fucking up for the people. So that's a big twist in modernized 2022. Yes, John, we are asking questions. What if corporations are also bad? And what if they're like their own governments? And then we're also asking the question, what if Utena had mobile suits in it? Because shit's gay. Shit's gay, in parentheses, positive. Shit's real gay. Now, were there queer characters in Iron Blood Orphans? Yeah, there was a lot of polyamory and like there were some queer characters, but they weren't the main characters. If anything, a lot of Gundam series are either very heterosexual in their main characters, or the main characters are so broken that they're not asexual by choice. They are broken in ways where they cannot relate to other humans. And some of them are asexual by choice and by design and by their very being. And when I say choice, I don't mean that sexuality is a choice. I mean that some of them are just stunted by their circumstances and then become asexual beings because they cannot give any sort of response to that. Lashberg says the OP and ED for G-Witch are gay as hell. They are. It's a fucking gay as hell show. So much so that now that two girls are engaged, one of whom was like, but I'm a girl, and the other one was just like, is that how y'all are on Mercury? Weird. I was just like, cool. All right. Great. I mean, on the one hand, great. On the other hand, she's, yeah. On the other hand, if our main character is like, oh, I've never considered the idea of being with a woman, and it's not my thing. Like, also, support. But yeah, if she's just only like that because she's like, it has not occurred to me, but now that I think about it, like, sure, great. Anyway, we got a lot of. Anyway, there's some people who are interested. The big issue is, in the first episode, a they thought they saw a fucking Gundam, and that's not cool. And so people were like, we think the Ariel is a Gundam, and you're a Gundam pilot. You get killed, and we can dismantle this. And she's just like, it's not a Gundam. It's just cool. It's just a cool mobile suit. And the people that made it are like, look, they are lawyering out what a Gundam is. Yes. They're like, it's not a Gundam. It's definitely not a Gundam. The other girl is like, look, all right, my dad is... I'm not going to marry who you say. I'm not going to deal with any of this dual shit. I'm out of here. Let's see. They're going to get in there. And then, basically, Mornay is like, all right, there's going to be another duel. And this will just settle it. And they're like, hey, if this isn't a Gundam, then this technology could be great for us and could help out. So we should see. Anyway, there's going to be a thing, and they're just like, hey, you got to win this next duel, or I get expelled, and you get expelled, and they're going to scrap your mobile suit. So we'll see what happens. My assumption is our main girl, Soletta, is going to fucking win, because she is the main character. Now, does she have to go through some hardships before she wins? Of course she does. There's got to be more bullshit. There just has to be more bullshit. Because she's got to grow as a character. And then there are people who are like, I've only seen 2 episodes in the prologue, but I can tell the mom is actually the main character. We're just being, deceived, and the main character can't be this girl that doesn't know anything, because that's never been the main character of a show before, is somebody that is, not sure of themselves and growing as a person. That definitely can't be the reality of what this is. It's gotta be another character that is actually the lead of the story, a story we don't know all about, because it's an original story and not a adaptation. So you don't have source material. But anyway, yes, Amuro knew all the stuff. He never needed to grow and change or learn. Anyway, a lot of the people that don't like it, maybe they have good reasons, but most of the reasons are bullshit, and that they're not really reasons. They're just hiding their prejudices and their dumb bullshit. I know some people are just like, I understand that some people just don't like school adaptations. They just don't want to see a thing set in a school. To which I say, have you watched too much stuff like that? Or if you watch too much stuff you didn't like that? Because there's a difference. There is a difference between, I don't like this genre or this setting, and there have been a few stories set in that setting that I did not enjoy. Because I watched a season where there were 2 romantic comedies set in a high school, and I liked both of them. And then there's another school setting one this season that I'm not watching because I'm not interested. Like, sometimes it's okay to be like, this isn't for me. And sometimes it's just like, maybe you just suck. Like, sometimes it could be you. I'm not talking to you directly, my friends, my good friends that I think are great. We finished the side skirts and the back here. We are done with the waist of this kit, and it looks good. I don't have the proper stand for this because it comes in the back instead of the bottom. So if I use this stand, this is not proper. You may think this is great, but this is not what we're going for right here. So I have to use a different stand, which I will, because that doesn't work. It's very funny, but it doesn't work. I might take a photo like that. But yeah, that doesn't work. So we'll just lay it down. All right, let's start working on the chest while I talk to you about Beast Tamer. Hell yeah, Beast Tamer. Beast Tamer is about a guy who was, it's time you've heard this before, kicked out of the hero's party. He was not an adventurer beforehand, and in fact, they didn't really see adventurers. He got picked up because he was told to be a really competent beast tamer, which he is. And apparently where he's from is a place where everyone's good at beast taming because he does not think that he is special. And it's that kind of thing where he is constantly figuring out by other people being like, oh, wait, you're really good at this. Like, Also, he didn't know that if you make a long-term contract with a cat spirit or any of the exceptional, rare, overpowered races, like a cat spirit, like what's her dang name, Kanade, that Rain, our main character, would gain a bunch of power because hey, as soon as he became an adventurer, some shitty adventurer was like, hey, I want your cat spirit to come with me because you're an F rank pushover. And he's like, fine, arm wrestle me for her. He's just like, all right, I'll do that. And then it turns out, hey, guess what? Rain's really fucking strong and didn't realize that he's become very strong. We learn later that he knows martial arts because everyone's going to learn it. Because sometimes monsters come out, or also you have to fight monsters sometime to tame them, even though we've never seen him do that because every monster is psyched to work with him. But sometimes you have to fight monsters to tame them, but you don't want to use weapons because then, so he learned martial arts, which he's like, now I can apply those martial arts because I'm very strong. Because our main character is overpowered. All right, so that's G6. All right, so we need to put G on here once we get this together. So yeah, in this episode, they are collecting some supplies. After he instantly takes that dude out. He just instantly whoops this dude's butt, which is very funny. Because he's strong, he didn't know. And then Kanade, it's not just all overpoweredness. There is some humor to this show. Because Kanade is so disappointed and demoralized to find out that most of the jobs of F-rank adventurers are just like herb collecting and like investigations. She's just like, wow, we're collecting more herbs and you already have all these bunnies helping you, so I don't even get to do anything. It's just like, I thought we'd be like saving princesses or finding legendary weapons or like or whatever. And she's like, nah, I'm F rank. I gotta like collect a bunch of shit. So they do that. And then they hear some trouble. There's a merchant in trouble. Apparently he had hired some adventurers to escort him, and those adventurers ran away as soon as they found out that they were going to have to deal with a famous gang of bandits. They immediately ran away, which sucks, obviously. So, but don't worry about it, because even though there's a bunch of them, Rain can fucking handle it. Rain, because he knows martial arts, like I said. So he just like handles his business and whoops all their asses. And he's like, all right, well, I guess we got to go find the rest of the people. We got to go, because they're going to try to track us down. So we should go find the rest of these bandits. And look, he's not going to run into a hideout and go take on all these bandits by himself. He's going to send his cat friend back to the village for reinforcements so that he can, because he's going to use a bunch of bees to paralyze all of them. And Kanade's like, you're also an insect tamer? And he's like, yeah, it's a yeah, sometimes it's helpful, so you can learn it. Not everyone can do it, but yeah, I learned it. He's like, no, that's exceptionally weird. Meanwhile, we find out that those merchants, the merchant hired some adventurers, and the people that ran away, they're members of the former hero, of his former party, the Heroes Party. I mean, they're still in it, so they're not former members. They're current members of the Heroes Party, and they hightailed it out of there because it wasn't any of the sword fighting people. And one of the people they're with was a beast tamer, and he's just like, you don't understand. You keep asking me to do impossible things. I can't do any of these things. No one can do those things. And they don't like believe him. And they should believe him. That the guy, because they just don't know. They don't know that Rain was actually really strong and powerful. They had no idea because they fucked up when they got rid of him. Anyway, more adventurers show up and they're like, all right, we took care of it. We got all these people. We're good. We did it. Hey, uh-oh. Looks like they were keeping lizards. They were keeping king lizards. So not little lizards, big dinosaur lizards. Uh-oh. These adventurers can't fight them. Don't worry, Kanade and Rain can fucking kick ass and take care of business, and they do. And then also, another thing is he's got his confidence back because he was really taking a blow by being mistreated by the Heroes Party for so long. And also, we do have the thing where Kanade is maybe developing a crush on Rain, which I will say this going ahead. There are 4 other girls that will be in this show. I believe the second girl is coming next episode. But even if they all like him, it is not a harem in that they are actively trying to pursue him in a relationship. He doesn't end up with like a bunch of... He may, because I haven't... the manga is still going. He may eventually marry all of them. But at time of recording right now, I can tell you that he currently is not married to a bunch of ladies in the manga. And that it is not overwhelmingly a kind of gross harem anime. Let's see. There are slaves, but he frees them, and he does not get one for himself, which is great, because that always is a goddamn bummer. I was reading something that recently just, ended up having slaves involved, and I was like, fuck. I don't need this. Get the shit out of here. Really frustrating. All right, let's see. Get these together here. One more manga to talk about. Not manga, anime to talk about. Management of a Novice Alchemist. Y'all, you got to check this shit out. It is so cute. This is a cute story. This episode is really heartwarming because the first episode was really setting out the plot. The plot is, if you didn't hear me talk about it the first time, our main character, Sarasa, she's an orphan, and she wants to be a successful business person and eventually have enough money to buy back her parents' merchant group that was stolen from her when they died. She was swindled out of. Someday she'll have enough money that she won't have to worry about that stuff. She is an alchemist, but she's a novice alchemist. She just graduated. We know that she is very good at being an alchemist, very strong. But she is now in this frontier town, and the alchemy place, which we find out later, there was an old man that worked there, and he had to retire because he hurt himself. It still has equipment in it, and it still has a bunch of magic stuff set up, but it doesn't have it's still dirty, and also there's ingredients, but things kind of overrun. But there's a lot of ingredients. Anyway, she gets set up. She meets the store owner of the local store's daughter, Loria, who has kind of been investigating because she wants to know about the city, and they become friends really fast. But she's just I want to know more about you and what your deal is, and what's up, what's going on. I want to know what's happening, and tell me about fashion in the capital and stuff like that. But they become fast friends. Basically, she meets a bunch of people in town, and some of them are gruff, but a lot of them are just they like that she's polite. They like that she's an alchemist. They're very excited about having an alchemy because it's frontier, and a lot of them get injured gathering supplies and fighting monsters and stuff. So having potions is really important, and not having to import potions from the capital, which is days and days away. That's going to be really helpful. So they're psyched that she's there. And then later, when she says that that everyone's so nice and it's so welcoming and the breeze is really beautiful and you don't get that in the city, and she's just you have every reason to be proud of this place. I love it here. Everyone's just really psyched about that. They're just oh, all right, well, we also love this town. Hell yeah. They do. There are some drunk guys who do play a prank on her. And she's was I always so bad at socializing? And she really thinks that means that they hate her because of the prank. But they then apologize the next day. And also, everyone in town shows up to help her clean up the store and get ready for it to be open and do repairs and on the exterior and bring a bed for her because she didn't have bedding. And then Loria is well, if you need help, I can work for you. There's only a couple days a month I got to help at the family store, so I'll be your employee. So she gets an employee, so she has someone to help her. She's also got a sword from her master because her master's like, you got to train to use weapons. You got to like train up because you're gonna have to collect supplies anyway, and you got to defend yourself. So even though you're an alchemist, you got to like study the blade basically. But yeah, Loria is gonna work, and she can open her store, and they're already becoming fast friends. Like I said, she stays over the night, which is really fun and it's cute. And then the next day, they officially open, and immediately some adventurers show up because there's a girl and her arm is gone. An adventurer that has lost an arm. So suddenly the drama is here. It's like immediately like, oh shit, episode 3 is going to have some drama. Great. Gonna have to help this girl with her arm. She's also this girl that has lost her hand. Is in the opening, so I assume that she will become one of the gals, which is fun. So that's all the anime that I've been watching for the past 2 days since Saturday. Of course, I will be talking about Chainsaw Man, Do It Yourself, Reincarnated as a Sword, and Doomsday with My Dog, all on Thursday. Thursday we'll have a bunch of anime to talk about. I am watching Mob Psycho, but not covering it on a weekly basis. I might not cover Chainsaw Man every week. It depends on how brutal I feel after watching it, because that is obviously a brutal series. I mean, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic show. I mean, I don't know the anime, but the manga is fantastic, and I look forward to engaging with it. But I've also heard good things. Press got to watch that today. You may have seen some people tweeting about it that got to watch it because it looks like they got the first episode out because Crunchyroll believes this will be a big hit, which I don't doubt. I totally believe it'll be a big hit. So they got episode 1 out a day early. So you may have seen some people being like, "Oh, holy shit! Oh, it's great." Not saying too many spoilers, but it looks like people got it. So I look forward to talking about that with y'all on Thursday. I should say okay, so in the comments here in the chat, let me know what you're playing, what you're watching. Now's the part of the stream where you tell me what you're playing and what you're watching. And while you tell me that, I will promote my stream tomorrow night, a karaoke stream. That's right, I'm singing karaoke tomorrow night. It is not anything like particularly like, okay, why do we have to do so many stickers? There's like a dozen stickers on this. I don't know why we're A2 into A10. You gotta put stickers behind it. Oh, apparently I have 4 options of stickers here, so I will be looking at those stickers once we get this piece applied here. But yeah, let me know what you're playing, what you're watching, what you're engaging with. I'm doing karaoke tomorrow. I'm looking forward to doing karaoke stream because I like it. Part of my karaoke stream tomorrow will be me. It will include me singing one karaoke song that is anime, that is an opening to an anime, the U.S. version of an anime, and also me doing sing-alongs with a couple other songs because it's very difficult to find karaoke tracks for English language anime songs. So we have to do English language anime songs sing-alongs. So there will be just songs that have lyrics on there, but also it's not just a backing track. But other tracks will be karaoke. It'll be like just a bunch of stuff that I want to sing. I think it'll be really fun. So please check that out tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And all right, so let's see. We're just going to do the pure red one. We're going to do number 3 because there's the symbols, and I don't think you're going to be able to see the symbols anyway. So let's just do the pure red one, and I think that's fine. Let's do that. But we do have options for stickers. And also, if I fuck one of these stickers up, I can fix it. All right, so we got Gonna Be Hard to Top Ava Karaoke you did a while ago. Says John, yes. I closed with that. I think I have a song that will top it, but I don't want to say for sure. But I do have some other karaoke tracks that are anime sing-alongs, and I think that's going to be fun. And then also I do have just a bunch of other songs that I want to sing that are all karaoke tracks. Richiz says, Drizzle says, just Witch from Mercury Minori, yes, Myrene is a gamer. Very exciting indeed. And the last one says, just been playing a lot of Apex and Gundam Evolution. Turns out the turn A is pretty fun. Just unlocked the unicorn. Melee Zaku 2, Zaku 2 is truly spin to win. Yeah, so I'm still using Gun Tank because I like Gun Tank. I haven't played in a couple days, but last time I played, I used the Gun Tank and enjoyed that. I've heard good things about the unicorn as a thing to unlock. I had not heard good things about turn A, but I'm glad you're having fun with it last week. Yeah, like I said, I haven't played since Saturday. Yesterday I watched wrestling, caught up a bunch of work. I did a lot of raking today. That was my big thing today was going out into the way back edge of the property and raking and bagging a bunch of leaves. And then taking a nap because I needed a nap. All right, so... All right, we're almost done with the chest here. We got a few more pieces. Of course, this whole thing, we're only going to see when a part of it pops up, so it doesn't really matter, but we're getting close to being done with the chest. We still have more to do. Obviously, we didn't get to the head or anything, so we need C22, C23, and A28. Gun tank is fun. I feel like it should have more health. Yeah, Lashbrook, I agree. As someone that uses the gun tank, I also wish it had more health. But I don't pretend to understand balance and how to build balance in a game. I gotta play Gundam Evolution. I too love the gun tank and was severely disappointed when they took it out of Doan's Island. Yes, I hear you. Yeah, so I kind of Overwatched out. I played a lot of Overwatch with my friends. That was our multiplayer game at the time. We played a lot of that. I have played zero Overwatch 2, and I'm happy about that because I think I was kind of done with it. So Gundam Evolution is Overwatch with Gundams, and the with Gundams part rules, but like I still don't think I love the gameplay, but I do love my friends, and I do love my gaming crew. And if we're not going back to Halo anytime soon, which was the last game that we all played and liked, because we didn't like Back 4 Blood, even though some of us really loved previous, things that it's based on, Left 4 Dead. But we did like Halo, and there was a bunch of us there were people I was playing Halo Infinite with that I haven't played anything with them since Halo 3, because they kind of got out of games, and they were like, hey, what about this Halo? And we're like, we're playing, get this Halo. And so we were having a good time with that. But then people kind of moved on to other things. People were looking for other things to do, or people were just like, well, I'm glad I got to play a lot of a video game because I haven't done that in a while, but I also have other parts of my life that I have to take care of. And we're like, yeah. So my hope is that we'll eventually go back to that because I don't really want to do this, but like, I understand. I get it. All right, I'm going to panel line this part first. What's up, Dean? Hello. Working on a model kit. We were talking about Gundam Evolution and other video games that we have been playing. Yeah, I'm in a little bit of a lull when it comes to video games. I just had stuff on my plate to deal with. But I am always on the lookout for games to check out there. The Next Fest demos. Do you call your Gundams buildable figures or buildable statues? I use the generic term model kit for all the stuff that I build. That is because it is a kit that we build. When I'm talking about like humanoid forms, like a Figurize line where you can build like a Goku, I usually call those like action figure model kits because they are closer to action figures. So I don't... Buildable statues is probably more of how I feel about them as far as them being like figurines or figures. But I guess I just said that I call some things action figure model kits. So I guess I'm more on the line of buildable figures than buildable statues. Because like the posability, obviously some mobile suits, not super posable, right? But a lot of mobile suits, very posable. This thing does not seem to want to snap in. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe another piece will lock this in. But this neck does not feel super secure. We'll find out later if I fuck that up or if this real grade just has a loose neck. I actually don't know. And then A19. Again, we are not done with this. We're getting close to be done with this chest. Oops. I fell. I'll get that later because that is not important for what we're doing here. Yeah, so let's see. I've got, video game-wise, I'm playing Hearthstone. I got a few decks that I'm liking. I know nothing about Gundam, but the model kits look cool. That's the nice thing about Gundam is, so, you know, you can always build something that you know about, right? Like, I know some Gundam series. I don't know every Gundam series. But, like, if you like One Piece, there are model kits of the ships of One Piece, and you can build the Going Merry or the Thousand Sunny, and that's fun. There's a lot of stickers on those kits, but you can do that. If you like Kamen Rider, there are Kamen Rider action figure model kits. If you like Dragon Ball, there are some Dragon Ball model kits that are you know, of the people or a couple of the vehicles. You can build like a motorcycle that Bulma rides, which is cool. You can build one of Toriyama's motorcycles, which is very fun. But there are a lot, not everything. There are very expensive Mega Man model kits that I've never built because they are so expensive, and I can't see myself spending all that money on those, even if they do look cool as hell. I just can't justify the cost. But I know other people who are like, this is exactly what I want to do. I very much want to spend the money. Let's see. So this doesn't seem to snap in anywhere, and I imagine that when I put stuff over this, it'll cover it. But right now, this does not look right. And so I'm like, did I do something wrong? I don't know. You bought the Banshee Norn Unicorn on Amazon. It's expensive. Oh, yeah. So, the Banshee Norn and like the Unicorn Gundam as well, those are going to be pricey. One, because some of those kits are not, they didn't do a super huge number of those. But two, because those kits involve, am I doing this upside down? No. This just looks like it snaps in place, friends, and then it does, but it doesn't look like it does. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, this looks like it just snaps in place, but then there's nothing holding it up. But then the other parts hold it in. We'll find out. I may have done something wrong here. It's totally possible. It shows it where it goes, but it doesn't look like this would hold it. So then we're going to go back here and we're going to be like, did I miss a step anywhere? I did that part. No. I did that part. No. It's sometimes nice to go back and look to see if you just missed a step somewhere. I didn't miss a step. We'll find out in the next stream if this is supposed to just be really loose until you put another part on there. But anyway, in answer to your thing, the Norn and the other unicorns are expensive because they just have lots of sliding parts that reveal other parts underneath, and it's just a lot of plastic. Anyway, we'll find out later what I did, if I did anything wrong with this, as we get ready to. We're not done here because we got more to build, but my assumption is if I put these side parts on and this other part on here, it'll lock over this. Because it eventually needs to do that. We'll find out later if I mess this up. But anyway, look at this. We went from just having legs to having legs and a waist and part of a chest. That's awesome. I'm very excited about that. And then we get to show off the cool center part there on this kit. And that is going to do it for tonight's stream. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you all so much for spending some time with me. We are going to raid. That is how we end every stream. We always end with a raid. We're going to go hang out with somebody who's doing cool shit out there on the internet that has a great community. Those are my requirements for raids. That they are cool, fun people that I know and like, and that their chat communities are great. Now, it wouldn't be impossible for someone to be cool and have a bad chat. But those are, as John says, we always end with a raid. But it has happened. Sometimes people just get away. Or like, there might be a streamer who's really great, but they just have so many people in their chat, and mods can't always keep up. That happens. I have run into that before. So, I do the legwork there to make sure that I am bringing you to a cool community of fun people. Um, hey, my buddy Jordan is streaming. Ray FK. Um, he's playing Hades, which is, I think, Jordan's just like comfort game at this point. He's played a lot of Hades. I think that Jordan just like enjoys that. But Jordan is great, using the name Ray FK, with a very fun community. So we're gonna go raid Jordan. So feel free to come along on this raid. I hope you have a great night. I hope you come along with me. Reminder that tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, I'm singing karaoke, and I would love for you to hang out with me while I do that. You can sing along, and I will not be taking requests, but it will be fun. And towards the end of that, I'm going to sing some anime songs that are in English, and that'll be silly and weird. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great night. I will see you on the next stream. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.